Okay, eighth graders, here we go. This is our last bit of research before we do our civil rights project, which will then wrap up the year for us, okay? This video is going to be a little different. So it'll be in three parts. First part will be a description of the activity, the research you're doing. The second part will be a very brief review of civil rights up till now that we've worked on, okay? For a more full one, please watch or join us in our Google chat at 9:30 today. Okay. If you're watching this after that, well, then you have the review, but it's going to be a lot more brief than what I'm doing in our Google chat. And then finally, a very brief kind of description of what your final project will be, kind of a teaser. You'll get more of that on Wednesday or Thursday, I'm sorry. All right, so let's take a look at this last project. Okay, so for this last reading, you've only got 3 readings, do 1 a day, okay? If you do each of the sections that is linked in the link there, if you do 1 a day, you'll get this done by Wednesday, no problem. This time we're going to look at philosophies behind the civil rights movement, okay? You're going to look at the big 4 different types of philosophies. First, you're going to look at civil disobedience of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Then you're going to look at the Black Power movement. Then you're going to look at the ideas of Malcolm X. And finally, the Black Panthers. What you're going to do for each one of them is you're going to briefly summarize what this person or movement's point of view is. It meaning what was it that they thought about the civil rights movement. And then the second part is how did this contribute to the civil rights movement? What did it bring to help bring about civil rights? Okay, so that's this project in a nutshell. Questions, email me, request a video chat. The review today will go to about 10:15. From 10:15 to 11, I will also ask your questions or answer your questions. The link will be in your Google Classroom. All right, so let's work on a review here. So we've talked about civil rights, okay? Think back to the life after World War II, life in the 50s. Think about the pictures you saw. Who were in those pictures? What did those pictures look like? Okay, they were typically white suburbanites, right? They had a good life. They had a car, a house, a couple kids. Um, the roles that they had changed. So think about that. Think about what was it like? Then think about who was missing from those images. People who were missing were people of color. So what does it mean? Okay, so your first research thing, you learned about some incidents that happened, like Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier, the Emmett Till case, the NAACP, couple lawsuits. But let's think about that. What does it mean to be able to play on any sports team that you want to play on? Not just one that was in the Negro Leagues. Okay. What does it matter about Brown versus Board of Education? Why should people be allowed to go to whatever school they want to go to? Okay. Think of some of those other lawsuits that you guys talked about. All right. Okay. Think about being integrated into the Little Rock school. Why is that important? If you were somebody of color, how would you feel seeing those images that you saw from the 1950s? What do you think you'd be missing by that? Okay. What does it matter? Why does it matter where we sit on a bus? Okay. Where do we go to why does it matter where we go to school? Why does it matter about where we are able to eat in a restaurant? If you were a person of color and you couldn't sit where you wanted in the bus, but you saw other people be able to sit wherever they want, how would that make you feel? What would you want? Why would you do these protests? What were you looking to gain from these things? Why is the civil rights movement so important to create equality for everybody? So think of the two notes you took before you think of this philosophies that we're going to talk about. Okay? That's a really brief review of what it is and the questions I want you to be thinking about. Okay? What these court cases meant, what these boycotts meant, what these abilities to play on whatever sports team you wanted to play on. Okay? And then finally, what March on Washington. What were the people of color trying to accomplish by doing that? So that's the civil rights stuff. You've got those notes done, then you're in good shape. Because the final project that we're going to be doing is you're going to pick one from each of your notes, okay? Which of the research pieces? So on your first one, what do you think is the most important? And why do you think it was the most important for the civil rights movement? In your second notes, what do you think was the most important? Why do you think it was important for the civil rights movement? And then this final one. And I'm going to get really much more deep into that when I introduce the project to you on Thursday. And this project, you're going to have a lot of time to work on it. I'm going to give you the rest of the year plus a couple more days. And I'm going to talk to you more about that when we do the project. All right. So that's this next thing, civil rights. Don't forget to work on part 3 of your notes. Stay as amazing as you are. Have a wonderful day and get to work. Miss you.